Hey guys, welcome back to another Underground Virtuosos video. My name is Paul. I'm a violin viola teacher located here in San Diego, California. So today we're going to be talking about what to do when the music doesn't start in first position. Now, this video definitely requires you to understand how to shift and how to get into a different position. So if you have not learned yet about how to shift or not secure about how to shift properly and all that stuff, I would recommend you to pause this video, go check out some of my other shifting videos to get you started on that before you come back to this one. So the idea of this video came to me when I see students that I'm working with in school orchestras and private lessons. I see that they sometimes struggle, starting in a different position that's not the first. I would say that most of us are, comfortable knowing where the first position is. But what happens if you have to start in third position? What happens if you have to start in fifth position or even higher? What should you do and how do you get there? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so let's get started. If you have your instrument, feel free to do it with me. Now, let me just give you an example. This is something I see a lot when I work with students, and let's say they're going to start in third position, okay, and they bring their instrument up, and then suddenly they just kind of plop down their finger, and then they play it, and then they realize it's out of tune. They go, like that, and yes, they show me that their ears are trained enough that they can tell if they're in tune or not, or they land in the right place or not. However, they have to search for the note, technically speaking, right? Their left hand is not quite comfortable in finding that position. And so let's get down to it. The first thing to know is your scale patterns. Okay, scale patterns is what's going to help you get into a different position. So I'm going to use the note that I just played. For example, this is the first finger on my A string for the violin. Violas, you can try this on your A string, on your D string. It would just be a different note on the D string, of course. But I'm going to be playing this note, the D, and I'm going to find it, but I'm going to find it silently. Okay, so what you should do is from the first position, your first finger is B, C sharp, and then the third finger is D, right? And this is the note you're getting to. And if you practice scale, then you know what I mean about shifting, going 1, 2, and then to a 1, right? So this is exactly how you should practice if you're trying to find that first finger D. You just go 1, 2, 1, and then you play the note, and you check it with your open D, with your tuner, to see if it's in tune. Let's say one more time. So you just go 1, 2, 1. Right? And then you do this enough times so that you can do it quite fast. And the reason we want to be able to find notes fast, I can give you several reasons. Number one, you could be in an orchestra and then you have to start playing in the third position. It could be in the very beginning of the piece. It could be, a measure of rest, and then you gotta be in third position, right? These are situations that require you to just know how to get there quickly, and you don't have all day to slowly find it, and you definitely cannot do what a lot of students struggle with is you don't have the time to do that, to be searching for a note and then find it and then play it, right? So it's important that we use these scale patterns and steps to get you from your first position into whichever position you need to get to. Okay, so start silently and learn how to get there without using your bow. Okay, now if you train yourself enough, you practice enough, this motion becomes very, very quick. And this is just the first step, okay, where you put down 1, 2, and then 1. Once you get more comfortable, you can actually kind of imagine putting your 1, 2, 1, but actually don't put 1, 2 down. Okay, you're just going to imagine. So you're in first position and you imagine yourself putting 1, 2, 1 down, and then you shift to where you think third position is, and then you play the note, right? So you do this enough practice as well. I can tell you over time, this skill will be developed and it will just feel natural for you to know where that third position is. And I'm using third position as an example because third position is I would say the second most common position that players play on, especially students that first learn how to shift. It's generally from first to third position. Okay, so once again, silently, and the second step would just be not putting any finger down until you get to the third position, and then play the note. Okay, another way, which I would say is the final way of getting there, is to actually not to completely skip the 1 and the 2 finger in the first position. So you want to just practice being able to place your hand in that position to be able to just quickly go into that position. Okay, this is definitely where you want to get to if you are looking at becoming a lot more advanced. In your playing, if you are playing in a much more advanced orchestra, you're not just going to even be in a third position. You might be in a much higher position than that. So let's talk about it. And how do we get to a higher position? Let's say I need to start in 5th position. Okay, let's say I need to start in 5th position. I'm going to use the E string, for example, this time. So for me, that would be the C. It would go, and that third finger right there would be the 5th position. Okay, so that's where we're getting to. Now, assuming you are more comfortable with third position now, this is going to make it easier for you, where if you know where your third position is, then you don't have to start all the way back in first position. Okay, so you just start in third position and you go 1, 2, 1 silently. Okay, so 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. Okay, and you do it silently. Now, at first, it might feel weird and you might play out of tune. Definitely have a tuner ready to check if you're landing on the note correctly or not. But after a while, it should start to feel more like a muscle memory, more like something you are confident doing, shifting quietly. Okay, and I would say this is definitely a must in orchestra. Okay, when you have to find and be able to start in different positions silently. Okay, if you're a solo player and you're performing solo, I would add an extra step on top of that. Okay, which is to do a little bit of a left hand pizzicatos. And you see this happen a lot when musicians have to start in a much higher position. They would, so let me do, the 1, 2, 1 again. And then what they would do, they would use one of the fingers they're not using. In this case, maybe like the third finger. And then you're plucking very, very quietly, just hearing that no. To be able to see if you're at the right place or not. That's more so though for security. Do not mistakenly use left hand pizzicato to find where that note is. It's not to find the note, it's to check the note. Okay? Once again, go through all the steps. Go through the scale pattern first. So 1, 2, 1. If you're looking for even a higher note, let's say you're not putting down a first finger, let's say you're going to a third finger. Okay, so I'm gonna go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And that's the note E on the violin, right? And so you're going 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now, the quicker you can do this, the more comfortable and more likely you will be able to use this as part of the orchestra, or solo practice, where you would do this kind of preparation in the left hand. Okay, and of course, the more you do it, the more you're going to get used to it, and soon enough, you can actually stop using the scale pattern, and you basically want to start to take away parts of the scale pattern to make sure that you can get there quick enough at least. And then hopefully eventually you develop muscle memory where you can just find the note. Okay, but I would say that definitely takes a lot more time than just using the scale pattern. But scale pattern is definitely a good place to start. All right, and the next time, I mean, right now we're in the midst of a pandemic, right? But in the future, if you're back in the orchestra, if you're back in playing in person, and you're working on something, and you need to shift here, or you need to start that in the third position, the fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever position you're going to be in, try to see if you can, during your practice, try to see if you can apply this scale pattern to help you find that. Okay, rather than finding yourself, going like this, just throwing your hand up there and playing it, and it's like, oh, there it is. But first of all, we don't want to hear that. Right? Nobody wants to hear that. Definitely not in the performance either. And second of all, it's just not efficient, right? It's just not efficient. And also, one of the benefit is using the scale pattern. You will help your hand frame to be set up properly. So you're not just ready on that one finger alone, but you're ready for all the fingers in that position, which hopefully helps you play more in tune. Okay. All right. So that's it for this video. I hope you find this helpful for you to, get used to starting music, or after a certain amount of rest, and then you have to be in a new position. Hopefully this helps you get more comfortable with that. Okay. And with more practice, I know many of you, if not all of you, can do it. Okay. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, leave it down below, and hit that subscribe button. As always, thanks for watching.